I really appreciate you weaving all those pieces together because they do. When you look at them, and they certainly are reflected in your values as described on your site. And I could see as you're telling the story, like, yeah, okay, this I could see how this comes in. And so thank you for sharing us that history. And there's so many different paths I want to go just based on that story alone. It's so fun. Even the music connection, which is fascinating because life is patterns and the air traffic controller thing. I want to pause for a moment on the doing the opposite. I think it might have been Sam Walton who said, strategy is doing the opposite of what everyone else does, or something to that extent. And if it's not right, someone let me know
Yeah.
who actually said that. But it sounds like you're taking that idea to do the opposite. So instead of 60, you're doing 30.
Mhm.
That one would look at that and say, well, that's 25%, reduction in productive hours. But I'm guessing the difference is that you're making it up in terms of engagement and that
Yes.
people are bought in. Is that, yeah, how does that work from a productivity perspective, the whole hour
That
thing?
that's exactly the paradox, right? And so you're starting to see companies. I feel like there was a big study in Japan of a few companies who tried to do this, like jump down to a 30-hour work week, and they actually had productivity measures that they were measuring, and they saw like a 40% increase in productivity with a 25% decrease in hours. And I think what that is all pointing to is that what we have lost sight of is the balance between our work and our life, and that our brains can only do so much. And our brains are powerful and they're beautiful, and they're able to find beautiful things, and we're able to chase our visions, but only if we're given the space to. And us being in a creative industry, rather than but I mean, I feel like this applies to even non-creative industries as well. The most important thing, time and time again, is that when it is time for us to solve a really hard problem, we are all in a good enough headspace that we can actually solve that problem in the best possible way, rather than just solve the problem in a quick shortcut way to say that it's solved and to get the money for it. That just does not last. I mean, it just doesn't. So it just goes back to that paradox of, like you said, doing the opposite, right? Giving the space and then just seeing what happens. And what happens is, for people, life starts coming first. But now that life starts coming first, when they do come to work, it is a conscious choice for them to be there. And now that work is kind of secondary to their life, now they get the space to find, well, what is it that I want to contribute to? Like, where do my passions guide me? And then when that starts happening, then the best possible thing you can do is just get out of the way, right? And allow for that space, right? It's just all about space. Most people are trying to control that space, but you have to do the opposite, right? Give it away. Do that paradoxical thing that doesn't make sense from a total hours of productivity mindset, and realize that we're all human beings, right? And that the vast majority probably of the products that you are building as a business, or the services you're offering, the value comes from that 1%, of eureka moments that happen when people are in those particular kinds of headspaces. And when you have an entire team that is just doing eureka moment after eureka moment after eureka moment, it stops mattering that they're not working 60 hours a week, right? So there is a light at the end of that tunnel, and that light even makes sense if all you're looking at is the finances or the hours, or anything like that. You just have to trust that process, and wait for it to get there, and wait for kind of the culture and the mindset to reset. And then suddenly you're in a completely different world.